Okay, the Patriots defense is officially back. If it wasn't back already with Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis, and Harold Landry, it's back now. The Patriots have signed one of the best young defensive tackles in the NFL, one of the most dominant players in the NFL playoffs, and PFF's number one graded pass rusher at defensive tackle in 2024. Yes, I said it, I'll say it again. The best pass rusher in the NFL at defensive tackle. Facts. Milton Williams has signed a $26 million deal per year, per season with the New England Patriots. A in his prime prospect for the Patriot Mike Vrabel-led defense. Nobody is going to want to mess with the Patriots pass rush and the Patriots defense in 2025 and beyond. Milton Williams is an absolute stud. And not only that, we're going to talk about the Patriots signing veteran right tackle Morgan Moses. It was reported that Morgan Moses reached a 3-year, $24 million deal worth up to $28.5 million for the Patriots. And it gives some professionalism to the Patriots offensive line, a veteran presence that can protect Drake May. Beautiful. Love it a lot. But I can't help my excitement for the Patriots defense. I love these players. Milton Williams, you guys know if you've been following the BLV throughout the playoffs, my guy, like my dude, my crush, okay? He has been my crush during the playoffs. Then we got Carlton Davis, one of my favorite corners in the NFL ever since I really started backing the Bucs when Tom Brady got there. And then Robert Spillane, one of my favorite underrated linebackers. Harold Landry, a guy I wanted the Patriots to draft in 2018. They're all New England Patriots. I'm pumped, baby. I'm pumped. Gronk, spike the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe. Don't be a jabroni. And make sure to check out the BLV Discord. Link is in the pinned comment. The BLV community is going crazy. The Patriots are back, baby. The Patriots might have the best damn defense in the NFL. Let's talk about it. Milton Williams, 26 a year. All right, so we're looking at the stats. Milton Williams was the highest graded pass rusher in the NFL, according to PFF, playing 419 pass rushing snaps. That was above Chris Jones, Cameron Hayward, Jalen Carter, John Franklin Myers, Jeff Simmons, Dexter Lawrence, you name it, Ed Oliver, doesn't matter. 91.7 pass rushing grade, 54 pressures despite only 419 pass rushing snaps. That was 10th in the NFL. His pass rushing productivity grade was 4th in the NFL. He had 39 hurries, which was also 7th in the NFL. He had 3 batted passes last season. In a true pass set, he had a 92.6 pass rushing grade, which was the best in the NFL. Better than Christopher Jones, okay? He had 6 sacks in true passing situations. He had the highest win percentage in pure passing situations. In normal situations, he had the 4th best win percentage. Now, if we look at the postseason, because I know Patriots fans, as we all should, care about the postseason. You want to hear some fun stuff? The leading man in the playoffs, all right? He had the best pass rushing grade in the playoffs. He had the second most pressures in the playoffs, only behind Jalen Carter. He had the same amount of sacks as Jalen Carter. He had just a ridiculous playoffs. I mean, he was dominant in the playoffs. He was dominant in the Super Bowl. He was an absolute demon. Now, Milton Williams is a little weaker against the run. You know who I would kind of comp him to? I guess is kind of like young Chris Jones, young Javon Hargrave, that type of player. But he's only 25. How often does a guy that's 25, he's turning 26 in April, how often does that guy hit the market? He's 290 pounds, 6'3", and perhaps in the Patriots system with Christian Barmore beside him, Barmore might be able to take some pressure off of in the run game, which is kind of like Jalen Carter all over again. I mean, we might have the best interior duo in the NFL if Barmore can get back to it. And we've got Keon White, who's also an excellent interior rusher if we want to go that way. But Keon White can play the edge as well. Man, this is a defensive line. I'll tell you what. 10 quarterback hits last season, 5 sacks. The normal numbers don't really do it justice. As I just said, all his advanced metrics across the board were extremely impressive, right? Across the board, elite stuff, okay? Like truly elite player. He was graded as the, I don't know if PFF already did the change here. PFF already did it? Let me see. I don't know maybe they're in the process. I'm trying to look up his overall grade from last season, guys, but comment right now what you guys think of this move. Yeah, I can't seem to find his grade. I think they're like transferring it or something, but $26 million a year is a lot. But that being said, the guys you want to gamble on is 26-year-old in their prime, just broken out, 1 season of pop, 1 season of just absolute superstardom where he's just getting started. Those are the type of players you want to buy in free agency. You don't want to be buying past production, right? With Carlton Davis and Harold Landry, feels like New England, and even Robert Spillane to a certain degree, although he's kind of just broken out the last 2 years. You're buying a little bit of the older player, the established veteran with great experience and great leadership skills, but also very good football players. With Milton Williams, you're potentially buying a superstar. That's what you're doing with this move. You're trying to buy the next Chris Jones. That's what you're trying to aim with right here. Former 3rd-round pick in the 2021 NFL draft, right? He's only played about 3 years in the NFL. This was his 4th year in the NFL. And the last couple years, he hadn't really been playing a ton because, the Eagles had always had such a great interior with Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, who they drafted in the 1st round. So it's been hard for him to find a lot of reps. So the last 2 years, he's found more play and he's been able to thrive because of it. So that's something where why wasn't he really a big factor early in his career? But yeah, I feel like Milton Williams is an absolute, I'm so pumped. I mean, I think the Patriots are going to have an absolutely elite defense. Absolutely elite defense this next season. I can't wait. And now, we talked about with Carlton Davis, we talked about with Robert Spillane, how this might enable them to blitz more. But now with Milton Williams, you have that great flexibility because now you're going to have enough pass rushing prowess to rush 4 if you want, to play zone if you want, to be able to blitz when you want to. The ultimate versatility and flexibility of having a good pass rush, but having a great secondary. I mean, we're really aiming for a top 10 defense this year. If not, we could be in the conversation for one of the best defenses. When you think about what Kyle Duggar can be at his best, Juwan Bentley and Robert Spillane together in the middle, when you're thinking about if Jabril Peppers, is going to reignite his game, Christian Gonzalez, one of the best corners in football, Carlton Davis, one of the best corner combos in football. We'll see what happens at the other cornerback spot, but I kind of like Marcus Jones if they're going to play a lot of man coverage, and him in the nickel is not so bad. I also like Alex Austin. We'll see how that goes. I feel like Harold Landry's a great fit for this defense. If Barmore's healthy, we know he's an absolute beast. Keon White in there. Man, they traded Devon Gottschall, but I'm super pumped. I think this is a great move. Like, I just went over everything for you guys. Like, he's 26. He's just getting started. He dominated the playoffs. He thrived beside Jalen Carter. And I guess some of the concern would be that Jalen Carter took some attention. But okay. Like, a lot of other players have guys that take attention on the defensive line too. And like I said, hopefully, if Barmore's there too, then you're going to have to pick your poison on the inside too. Or even if Keon White is there, you're going to have to pick your poison. So I think regardless, this could be an awesome signing. I think he is going to really pay off for the Patriots defensively. I'm looking forward to seeing how they want to use him. And of course, the Patriots' new defensive coordinator being a former defensive line coach, that only helps. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, they did sign an offensive tackle, Morgan Moses, who has been one of the most underrated tackles in football for like a decade. He's been in Washington for the most of his career, Baltimore for a couple seasons, the Jets last year to help protect Aaron Rodgers. And he will be in New England this year. And for the next couple of years, hopefully. And once again, PFF did update Morgan Moses. So they graded him as the 52nd best tackle last year. The 2 previous seasons, he was graded as 10th and 13th. The year before that, 40th. The year before that, 18th. He's been somewhere around, and then the early portions of his career, 18th, 26th. The middle of his career, 40th, 55th, 42nd. Last year, he was the 42nd graded pass blocker in the NFL. He played 723 snaps last year. Largely a very available player. He only played 723 snaps last year at 34 years old. I will say age is not too much of a concern at tackle because these players tend to play longer. So I'm not really mad about paying a guy that's 34 years old, especially considering the state of the Patriots offensive line. And I like that they're getting a proven veteran that has played in multiple systems on multiple teams. That is nice. He also played really well in Baltimore, and the reason that's important is because New England's blocking scheme, especially under Josh McDaniels, is very, very similar to Baltimore's. They like to run a lot of power runs. They like to be a power-based team, a gap-based team. And so that basis, and Morgan Moses having the flexibility to play in both systems, I think is crucial. You know, you look at Baltimore and you say, okay, if you look at that, his grading was a lot better in Baltimore than the Jets, where they did use more zone-based running styles and things like that. But I will say, I think a lot of his lack of good grade this year, like it was not bad. Like 52nd is still a starting caliber tackle. But at the same time, like that's not nearly as good as top 20. I think part of that could be age, but I think a lot of that could be just the state of the Jets offensive line, the coaching of their offensive line, the attention of detail, all those sort of things that he didn't have in Baltimore or even Washington previously because he had really good years in Washington as well. And you look at his career, right? His rookie season, he only played 8 games. But after that, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 17, 17, then 14, 14. So last 2 years, he's played 14. So he's missed a couple of games. But otherwise, 17, 17, 16, 16, 16, 16. So he's played a lot of games, a lot of snaps, a lot of games. He's always been a right tackle. I don't recall him ever playing left tackle, right? You look at his snap percentages throughout his career, 84% the last 2 years. Before that, 93, 94, 98, 91, 95, 95, 96, 96. So he's been very available throughout his career, very good, solid tackle. Last year, not quite as good from like a grading, from a stat perspective. I'm going to look up some of his stats. I don't know them off the top of my head, like see if PFF has anything in terms of his blocking. But I feel like he's just a guy that I feel like, okay, Morgan Moses, I feel comfy. You know what I mean? Like Morgan Moses is our right tackle. Nice. Especially considering what some of these other guys are getting on the market right now, like the 2 Moores, the one to the Chiefs, the one to the Steelers, or from the Steelers to the Titans. What Cam Robinson's probably expected to get, what Ronnie Stanley even got, and a guy that's, gets hurt a lot. Like Morgan Moses does have a ton of experience, multitude of schemes, very healthy, very easy locker room compliment. I feel like a guy that you can rely on. Like maybe not as talented as a guy like Ronnie Stanley, obviously, but very reliable, much more reliable. So 723 snaps. He graded out better as a pass blocker, which is also good. His pass blocking grade was 69.2, which is pretty good overall. 69.2. That is somewhere in the 50s. 69.2 was 54th in the NFL, so that was higher overall than, and the last 2 seasons, he had a 77 and a 76 pass block. Last year, he allowed 16 pressures, which was less than the previous 2 seasons. He played a lot less snaps, I guess, but only 2 sacks allowed last year. Most of his career, that's actually the least of his career. Only 2 hits allowed last year, 12 hurries. He did have 8 penalties last year. Only 2 of them accepted. I think that's what that means on PFF. A 97.9 efficiency grade, which is actually the best of his career. So this is interesting. That's actually really interesting because I just went through the stats that he had like the worst grade of the last couple of years, but like even dating back to his Yeah, he had the best efficiency grade, pass blocking efficiency grade. He had the least pressures allowed in his career, the least hurries allowed in his career, the least sacks allowed in his career, and yet he was only graded, that's kind of weird, in my opinion. 6'6", 320, still playing at a high level, still playing at a very much a starting caliber level. And just going to be a guy you can feel comfortable with that's protecting Drake May. I never feel like you're going to be watching a Patriots game and you're like, oh, Morgan Moses stinks. He's the reason we can't block anybody. You know, you're going to be able to rely on him. And now all of a sudden you got Michael Onwenu and Morgan Moses on the right side. That's a pretty competent right side of your offensive line. Can we figure out the left now? That's going to be the question, right? Left tackle, left guard might be a little bit tough, but I feel like with Morgan Moses, just combine both of his names, David Andrews at center, you've got two veterans that have done it for a long time that are going to be able to stabilize the offensive line. And you got Michael Onwenu, who at his best is a really good guard. So yeah, I love the Milton Williams signing. It might have been a little expensive, but I think for a guy that's in his prime at 26 years old, a lot of those guys don't hit the open market. The only reason he did is because the Eagles have too many players. They have too many guys that they have to pay. They have too many players in their prime at their peak. They're too expensive of a team. That's the only reason he hit the market. Player like that on a normal team that wasn't absolutely loaded wouldn't hit the market, right? So Milton Williams, it makes sense why he earned that money, right? Best pass rusher in football at defensive tackle last year. Morgan Moses, veteran, solidified force in a huge area of need. And like I just broke down, his efficiency metrics were the best of his career at 33 years old. So we'll see how he performs in 2025. I'm pumped. Patriots might have the best D in the league. I think the Patriots defense, man, they're going to be in the conversation. I love the linebacker duo that we might have there, especially from a pass rushing and run defense perspective. Bringing the hammer, Spillane and Bentley together, that would be a lot of fun to watch. I feel like Harold Landry brings us a edge setter. Anthony Jennings setting the edge. Keon White getting after it. Milton Williams in the inside. Hopefully Barmore healthy. And then the awesome corner combo. The safeties we know can play better than they did last year with better coaching. So I'm really looking forward to this defense. I think that's going to be the number one thing I'm looking forward to. Hopefully the offense still has some signings yet to come. But yeah, I'm really excited about the Patriots offseason so far. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Gronk, spike the like button. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.